of all the swimmers he knows, he's been around, he's contacted with, he has connections with, his friends with, he chose Daniel. And he explained it pretty well in that promo. What do you guys think about that? The reasoning for it. I mean, Daniel is not. I mean, he won Pan Am's. He was on a junior national team, but he's not an individual NCAA champion yet. He's there, but it's interesting, right? What do you think?
I'm kind of thinking back to our conversation with Shields, because Tom was saying, yeah, I mean, you know, in the comeback of Phelps, you know, there were a number of years where the focus was just on Michael, especially with the personality that he had built up, and you know, there were interviews and things that happened with Phelps and not with Tom, and you know, I think some of that resonated for me in Nathan's comments, because you know, he's talking about all the people that are getting name recognition, and rightfully so, they earned it. But I think his intent was to say, hey, here's somebody else who's kicking some ass and should be part of that conversation too. And so why not, right? And like, yeah, we're here to support that. It's talking to people that, you know, for whatever reason, if they're, you know, if they're cool, if they're, you know, doing something interesting, doing something great, doing something in a different way, you know, that everybody ought to know about, then let's talk to them. So, yeah, plus he's stupid fast. So
yeah, I think also with Nathan, I think after hearing kind of his story at Race Club and Gary's views on him, I think Nathan realizes some of the older guys took care of him or looked out for him, and I think he's kind of keeping that in mind too, and trying to look at, all right, who's going to be the next person, and how can I get them some exposure and used to, you know, I don't know, engaging with questions and audience and things like that.
I dropped 6 years, my freshman year to my senior year in my 100 free. 6 years, 6 seconds. And Daniel's dropped 4 seconds in his 100 back from high school to his junior year. That's a pretty remarkable drop, because I mean, my 6 seconds were pretty damn slow time to okay time. His was from a decent fast time already to a super fast time. Is that a pretty significant drop, you guys would say, from 48 to 44 in 3 years? Or that would come with the maturity as well in a good program?
I think, I mean, it's a big drop, especially when you consider how fast a 4400 backstroke is. I mean, yeah, there's several guys or a few guys that have gone 43 now. But, you know, for somebody who that was his top event, I do think that's a significant drop. I don't think it's unheard of. You know, I mean, I guess personal experience, you know, in the 100 free, I dropped 3 seconds in college. In the 100 back, I dropped 5, and I was an okay 100 backstroker in high school. And then was, you know, finaled at NCAAs in the 100 back. So I think, yeah, I mean, for that event, I think it's probably on par, but it's on the good side.
John, yeah, how much did you drop in your free or your fly?
Yeah, so I dropped about 2 seconds in the 100 free, and then about a second and a half in the 100 flies. So I think 4 seconds is a pretty good drop, but like Brian said, not out of the unheard of, and especially when you look at people like Caleb dropping seconds and things like that. You would assume at the higher end there's less room to drop, but I mean,
and Daniel had so many mistakes. Brian, you sent us some of those races today, and I got to see through those races, and it's so obvious his room for improvement. I mean, his body type, his underwaters
big time.
So his underwater's big time. I mean, he surfaced at 12 meters for the first one, and then like probably like 8 and then 8s and stuff. You know, and I get to see that he just hasn't started to break through as an elite swimmer. So I think Nathan sees that probably in practice and just knows where this kid's going to go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also too, I think, you know, I don't want to unfairly weight underwaters. There's obviously people that are doing well by maximizing the time underwater, but I don't know that that's necessarily the end all be all for swimming fast backstroke short course. I mean, like, he's Pan Am champ, guys fast top of the water. You know, some of the guys like that where you didn't really want them to stay underwater because they're so damn fast on the top of the water. Just, you know, get it, but it's get on top of the water before you start to slow down. So
Yeah, that's a key.
Yeah, but I don't think you're wrong about like trying to maximize that and get more out of underwater. I think that's probably fair. So
Definitely. And yards is such an odd event now. I mean, so much is underwater. I mean, who would have predicted Dean Ferris wins the 100 back last year? And watching it again recently, he just had such an explosive start in underwaters. And I mean, he's fine on top of the water, but I mean, that's the race. And that's a lot of these races now underwater for the yards game.